All right. Oh, yeah, hold on. Are we on? Not yet. We're not on, right?
Not yet.
Okay, hold on. Hold on just a second. I've got to click something in here. I forgot. 2 seconds.
Excuse me.
Just 1 second. Hold it.
Oh boy, yeah. I feel like I need a nap. Well, I just ate too. Usually I eat lunch earlier. I just ate like before I got here.
That probably made you tired.
If I don't have enough caffeine.
Yeah. Oh, would you mind putting that up? The Ranger Joe's Garden Country Show. Eric takes it down every time.
How come? Oh, because he's the watch.
Yeah. I guess he doesn't want to be associated.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, that's what this is, though. I mean,
He's just
where do you usually put it?
right up above the Bible. Right there, yeah. That'll work. Thank you.
It takes it down. I mean,
Yeah.
That's fine. Everybody's strange in
Yeah.
their own way. If that's the worst of it, we're okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Here we go.
Hello.
Okay. Not much more. All right. Yeah. Because
Me?
that one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good.
All right.
Oh, yeah, we're
Alright.
centered. All right.
Okay. Good.
Gotta have the right setting.
All right. Hello, YouTube. We're live on YouTube.
YouTube?
That's right. Oh, excuse me. And are we on?
We're on.
Okay. Hey, welcome everybody to the Rangers Gotta Come Show, the Medical Hour, and hope everybody is. It's on live now. Yeah, I just got a message on that. Joe Coley here with you with Dr. Curtis Park.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
All right, all right.
Well, we have it's already the 15th of November here.
Goodness gracious.
Time is absolutely just. Oh, 1 second. There we go. Flying by. And stuff. But again, I want to go ahead and announce to everybody that we're on track, and we're looking at right after the first of the year. We'll be simultaneously broadcasting on regular radio station right here from this location at the Jeff Ball Worthington Ministry Media Center. And so we're glad to have all of our listeners and our viewers out there. And this is something that we're very excited about. We're expanding out. We're started on Facebook, and now on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope, on several other different mediums out there. So this is something that we're very happy about, and we're very excited about. Okay, well, we're going to do something a little bit different, and I'd like to surprise Dr. Clark and give him another time. He said, "I didn't know this. But it's not anything bad."
Keeps it fresh, though. You know, we don't follow a script here.
We do not at all. And one thing that I want to do is what we're going to talk about in the beginning here, at least, is directly related, of course, obviously to your health and medicine and that kind of stuff like that. But I think it's something that, especially this time of year, November here, is on everybody's minds. And we're going to talk a little bit about. Hey, Tommy, how are you? And we have the call. Ms. Pat, go ahead and type in our call line on that. Our call line will be open for any questions for Dr. Clark or any of us. 706-940-0541, 706-940-0541. This is a live show, and so you have a chance to talk to Dr. Clark, who is a medical doctor here in the Cherokee Valley. But I think there's some misgivings. We're talking a little bit about something that's medical-wise on everybody's mind, and that's how to cope with insurance, with medical insurance, and not we're not going to get negative about it. We're going to talk about some. I think there's some myths, and I've done a little research preparation for this today that I think we can dispel and try to get people to help understand a little bit more about the way things are. Number one, of course, we have the situation. I think we have, I know we'll just say millions of people, no matter what, despite Obamacare or whatever type of affordable health care, hey Pete, how are you? That do not have insurance.
Correct.
I think that's a fair statement, and I think that and that's people of all different economic groups. I mean, it does not necessitate. That's the one myth that I found out. Myth number one, that it does not necessitate that because you're low income, that's who we're talking about. There's actually a significant number of middle income, even upper middle,
that forgo it.
That forgo it for whatever reason on that. And a lot of that has to do with the simple, the simple finances of it. As it's very, very, very expensive. And number one, or myth number two, to get people to understand about that, and I think a lot of people get confused with this, is that I think people think of healthcare in America when we're talking about insurance, healthcare insurance, paid healthcare insurers, that we think of it on a national level. We think of it as that if you have, I'll just call it the ABC insurance company, that this is a company that it's like I don't know what's the NRA or something that it deals and has offices in every state in the United States, and that's incorrect.
Or if you have like USAA insurance for life and car,
Yes.
It's not the same for health insurance,
Yes, it's
right?
not the same. It is regulated state to state.
With interstate commerce laws.
And to just very clearly define what I'm saying. And I'm not using this organization because of good or bad. I'm just doing what people would recognize. What's it? We use Aflac, and there's all kinds of insurance, so health insurance, life insurance, and all kinds of like that. But Aflac that's being sold in Georgia is different than Aflac being sold in Alabama. It's different than being sold in Tennessee, in California. Each state has an insurance commission that regulates the insurance industry, whether it be healthcare insurance, life insurance, property insurance, whatever it is, homeowners insurance, regulates each state. And an insurance company must come and apply to sell insurance in each particular state. And then when they come to, say for instance you have, we'll use Blue Cross Blue Shield. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama is different than Blue Cross Shield of Georgia, which is different than Blue Cross Shield Florida. Are they at the top? Is there a corporate order? There is, but there are licensing entities that are below that. And in Blue Cross Blue Shield, I'm just using this as a hypothetical example, wants to sell insurance in the state of Georgia, they must go to the Georgia Insurance Commission, which is a regulated body through the legislature of the state of Georgia, the people of Georgia, they must apply, and then there are standards and rules and regulations and SOPs, procedures that each state, and they're all different, some of them are very similar, but they're all different, that each state has in order to give a license, and it is a license for the insurance company to sell that insurance. Hand in hand with that, an insurance company is not required, because they sell insurance in Alabama, to sell it in Georgia. They can come, if they meet the requirements, say for instance in the state of Georgia, they can become licensed, but it is a yearly license. It is renewed yearly.
You know what else is interesting about that? I'd like to see what role they have. And I know there's consumer protection and for hospitals and to get paid by insurance companies. I just wonder how much they actually do to police the insurance companies at the state level. I don't know the answer to that, but you don't see much about it in the news.
Exactly. And for instance, in my point too, I was thinking is that they also can leave anytime. It's not in other words that your insurance can change whether you like it or not. In other words, you can be, even if you're under a city plan or something like that, and at that time there's a bid for the city plan, and let's say Blue Cross, okay, this is all hypothetical, Blue Cross Blue Shield or something to that effect gets that. This we need to plug this battery in for this. I have it over here. Can I give it to you? Get you to plug it in for us?
Yes.
Right, for the laptop. So what so you literally can be, even though you're under like a state policy that you got as a state employee or something to that effect on that, is that what the situation is that you may get a letter, like a lot of people do at the end of the year, that says, guess what? Come the 1st of January, we're no longer insuring you because our contract, because it is a contract that they have. Now, let's kind of define that even a little bit more. This better get scalped in a second. The next thing on that, and Dr. Clark can help with this, is that and I'm using the terminology contract, is that the individual insurance company, we talk about what is network, what is in network and out of network. How can it be in network? It's either in network as the state of Georgia, right? No, on that. And and correct me if I'm wrong on this from my research, is that what really I don't even like the words when they say in network or network. What that really means is that the insurance company in question, say for instance, if you have ABC Insurance of America, when they say that you're in network, that means that the ABC Insurance of America, has a contract with this area or these doctors or these hospitals where they will authorize, yes, we will do business with these.
And the physician or the entity also has to agree to it and apply and be approved.
I'm applying.
So sometimes it's offered, sometimes it's not offered,
and it's not accepted. So actually, one thing that I did learn very recently is that you literally can have, let's say for instance, I'm not. This is a hypothetical. If I'm a medical doctor and this is a medical doctor, and we literally are in the same building, and he's in room 7 and I'm in room 8 on that, he can be in network and I can be out of network. On that. And so it's not physical location.
Or like I could just say, you know what?
Look out, Kelly.
United Healthcare has is so bad about reimbursing and making payments. I'm no longer going to participate in United Healthcare.
Exactly.
And then I would not renew my application, and then they would send a letter to all the patients that Dr. Clark no longer sees United Healthcare. He's no longer in network, and they'll give them your name and say, "Here's some doctors that are in network if you want."
Now, and we always hear people. So one of the biggest problems is that, and I think you'll agree with me on this, is that I think a lot of people it's not the doctors or the hospitals that tend to be the problem. It is the insurance companies, because here's another. We're talking about those myths. Here's another myth. I go to Dr. Clark today, and Dr. Clark, he does some sort of procedure. And the procedure costs $10,000, and my part of that is $2,000, and the insurance company is supposed to pay $8,000. That does not mean he sends a bill to the insurance company, even if it's been pre-approved. That does not mean that next week he's going to get a check for $8,000, does it?
No, we
very rarely, right?
Billing and collections, a typical somewhere between 25 to 40% of what a practice or a hospital or someone bills, what they actually bill, they will get reimbursed. About 20, somewhere between 25-40% is like fantastic. You get somewhere close to 40% of what you submit a bill for, and it's just this big inflated thing.
And it's interesting because you know what I got that time I learned that is I started. We all get those things in the mail that says this is not a bill.
Yes.
You should look at those, because you know what, I found that out. Just because, let's say again, hypothetically here, that Dr. Clark submits a bill for $285, which is supposedly the part for the insured to pay, doesn't mean they're going to pay $285. It might say bill $285 and then they pay $23.18 on that. So it's very interesting. It's not what I think everybody thinks too. And I hear, here's another myth. Or it's not a myth, it's actually truth. I have been, in my research, I've been finding out that in some instances, especially with Medicare and Medicaid and things like that, that doctors, and of course doctors are, that's their business, that's their livelihood. They have to pay the bills. They have to, pay employees on that. A lot of times, you don't get full payments. It might be spread out. If you're owed $50,000 for heart surgery or something like that, it may not be 50. It may be you might get a check for 10,000, and then 3 months later, a month for 13,500. And then have you found that to be the case?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know how that works when we submit, because you're talking about I bill for professional services, just what the physician payment is. So ours tends to be one and done. Sometimes you have to resubmit, and then basically you just be happy with what you get.
Exactly. And then also too recognize, and I think this is important. We all understand the semantics of this. That when you go to the hospital or you go to the doctor, it is a very fluid process. It's not a singular concept. In other words, if I go to Dr. Clark's office and he does a physical on me, all right, there may be a bill for the office visit. There may be a bill to another group that analyzes my blood and gives the results back to him. If he takes an X-ray, that may be another company that gets paid for the X-ray, the analyzation of that X-ray before it gets back to you. So you may have, while I may go to this man for this issue, when he comes back and he says, "Joe, I looked at you. You have a lesion on your lung or something like that, and we're going to do surgery on it." There might have been one of my favorite words, a plethora of individuals and companies
that's passed through a lot of hands.
That's passed through a lot of hands on that. It's not, he doesn't go back there in the back room and take the sample with a microscope and dissect it, bisect it, and look at it, and make pictures of it on that. So it is, and again, so I'm saying that in all fairness to the medical profession, it's like I know when I was in the hospital for my heart surgery, my gosh, there was probably 15 different things. There was a bill to the hospital, there was a bill to the pharmacy, to the doctor who performed the surgery, to the anesthesiologist that was there, to the people that did the cardio interpretation, to the there literally was this giant range of people, and it wasn't so that fee, when you say, okay, well, it costs $50,000, very often that $50,000 is not $50,000 to the doctor. That's $50,000 for the whole thing in there. And when you break it down and see, and in all honesty too, and this is why I have a lot more sympathy for the doctors now, is when I looked and see how much the insurance company actually pays you.
Right.
It often, I would say more than not, is nowhere near what was billed to them. I mean, and I see ones, and
it's this inflated again. It becomes a game of inflation, and
also and
see what you can get.
Myth number 4. Okay, guess what? And again, I'm not trying to sound facetious, but I'm trying to be informative to everybody out there. When you see on your statements and it says that a doctor's treatment has been approved, 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 that does not mean it's been paid. That means that there is a difference in approval and being paid on that. Approval basically means they have billing codes, and they'll say for a procedure, if the procedure is removing this wart, that's code number 1234. Okay, and the insurance company, the provider, the service provider says to the insurance company, we need to do code number 1234, and then they look on their little list and they say, okay, for code 1234, we'll pay up to $800 for that on that. But they're not saying we'll pay you $800 for that. They're saying we'll pay that
up to that.
And so then they're saying yes, we will. So that's an approval. Now, once they get the bill, what is paid on that can be a whole different story on that.
And it depends on your deductible and what special it is, and the whole network, in network, out of network.
Exactly.
All that matters.
Exactly. Also, lesson to learn. When you get an insurance card, usually on that insurance card there is, I've never seen one that didn't have it, there is detailed information about your copay, if there is a copay to go to a specialist, if there's your tiers. See, they love these words, tiers in medication and pharmacy payments. Very important. It's not, how much is your deductible for medication? 0. So you better look again. That might be
That's
0
wrong.
for tier 1, and then 10% for tier 2, 30% for tier on that where you have to copay, you have to pay, and then tier 5, not at all.
Right.
Then on top of that, again, realize that there is a because your doctor, and I just, this amazes me, doctor. This part amazes me, that your doctor can tell you, your medical doctor can say, Joe, you need to have your appendix out, okay? And your insurance company can look at that and say, well, we're not going to pay for that. We don't know if we think that's necessary on that. And I always thought, hey, if my doctor said I need, or if this doctor here says, Joe, I need you to take Eliquis for blood thinner. I want you to take Eliquis on that. I can go to my insurance company, and my insurance company says, well, we won't pay for Eliquis.
This is the
We'll
concept
pay.
called pre-certification. Everything needs to be
Yep.
pre-certified. That means we might say you need it, and you do need it, but they're saying, well, we're not so sure. Prove it.
Yeah, you got to prove it. And so you would think, I would say, hey, my doctor has given me a doctor's orders. This is what I'm supposed to do. That is not the end of the line right there. And then, and then they can come back and say, well, you know what? We're not going to pay for Eliquis. We'll pay for Xarelto. We won't pay for Eliquis on that. And then there gets all kind of stuff like that. And then it's kind of funny because you would think, I'm talking to some insurance person that's not a medical doctor down there in the insurance company, and they're telling me that I've got to take something different than what my doctor has prescribed to me.
Right.
Now let me ask you this, sir.
Or pay, $500 a month.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
You're welcome to pay for it if you want.
Now I know that you began your career in medicine as a pharmacist.
That's correct.
All right. Okay, let me ask you a pharmaceutical question. All right. If you're a pharmacist, and I come up to you with a prescription from Dr. Curtis Clark that says I'm making all this up. I don't even know the amount. I'm supposed to take 100 milligrams of Eliquis a day, twice a day. Do you have the authority to change that prescription to say, no, I'm not good? Or do you have to fill what is on there?
You have to fill what's on there, yeah.
Okay, right.
It
Because
can't
it's a
change.
doctor. It's a medical doctor's signature. It's
Right.
correct.
Pharmacists can't
Then
change it.
how, can that pharmacist say, well, I'll do Xarelto, but I won't do Eliquis? Can they do that?
No, they have to, you need a new prescription for it.
Then
Now,
why-
they can handle it with a phone call.
Yeah. Now,
To a
why in
doctor,
the world does some stupid, I'm sorry, there's my anger, insurance company have the right to tell me when my doctor tells me that? Now, and of course, you know what Dr. Clark brought up. They always have a catch-all. There's always, for those of you that like the catch-22. What the catch-22 is, that comes with, well, of course, we will pay for Eliquis, but there's a $1,000 copay
Yeah.
on that. And that's realistic, isn't it? That's how they get around it.
Oh, yeah.
They
Like
got-
an inhaler, I
yeah.
needed an inhaler for my daughter, and since it wasn't pre-certed or whatever, it was like $485 for an inhaler.
Exactly.
For 1 month, one inhaler.
Exactly, and so I think that would it be reasonable to say, and that's all I'm asking. And back to your one, would it be reasonable to say that I'm being very cautious here, that when we're talking about motivation of why they would do that there probably is some motivation that's could be other than your health. It could have to do with money and contracts and deals and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's all about negotiating contracts for special deals
Exactly.
for groups.
Exactly.
And
And now, what's interesting is that, and one of the reasons that I was bringing this up is that I don't have the marketplace. I have actual, nothing that's bad. I'm saying that I apparently, the joke about money I make too much money for that apparently. But I get my insurance through the Georgia Bar on that. I'm a mediator for the state of Georgia, and mediators are allowed to go through the Georgia Bar on that. And very good insurance and stuff. And we just got a letter 2 weeks ago that said, "Oh, guess what? We're not. Our company is not. We're not going to do contracts in Georgia next year. So you have to the 15th of December to go back. Now we got to go back again to the bar. We got to find a new insurance company and do a new insurance on that. And I
that's not unusual.
And that's actually very common.
I know even my business, a local business, I've been in Columbus for 30 years. You'd think we'd have something set and stable with insurance company. We have changed every year the past 3 years. We went from 1 to a year later another, and now a third one. So it's the fourth one in 3 years.
Yeah.
That you just change your insurance, and you know what? They don't do anything to try and keep your business.
Yeah.
They don't care. They're like, fine, go ahead, switch. You know, we'll just pick up the next.
I have
customer.
dealt
It's
in the
very
past,
odd the way the
Pat
whole
and I-
industry is.
We've been married 20 years. I think we've dealt with probably 3 or 4 different insurance companies, and I'm willing to prove this to anybody if they think I'm just making this up or something on that. Every one of those, every single one of those, not 3 of them. And you know, when I work in the court system, you better be very careful what you say, and so I'm being very careful. Every one of those, when I call down to the customer service number, I get an out of country operator that's not even in the United States.
Yeah.
Usually one I can barely understand because of a very strong accent. I've had Hispanic, I've had Indian, not many races.
Filipino, yeah, there's Filipino, sometimes for call centers.
For call centers that are in another part of the planet Earth, in another hemisphere on that are telling me that they're going to assist me, you know, in getting things done. I told my wife that several years ago, as we have a lot of medical issues between the two of us, that I finally learned how to be happy, or at least not, I should say happy, learned how to be not unhappy, is just to realize that virtually, I told her, you know what, Pat, every month we fill our meds, who knows what the price is going to be. I mean, because I've seen that happen. I've seen with the same insurance company, the same medicine, go down there to the insurance company is no longer pay for this because it's made by this company. It's got to be this drug made by this company on that. And this all gets down to dollars and cents.
Yeah.
So where we're getting on this is that we're in a situation right now in America that healthcare is something, especially if you've got kids, especially young kids, babies and infants and stuff like that, and young kids, or you're our age and you get older on that. It's something you have to have. You can't go down there and go like, oh well, I have diabetes and I need some medication. Well, sorry, you don't have insurance. Now I can tell you this is that I give my hats off. I don't know. I've heard this is I've heard this. I have never seen anybody that needed. And I've been around. I was a cop. I was down in emergency rooms a lot. I have never seen anybody at any of the hospitals in Columbus that came in the hospital in an emergency situation that needed emergency, immediate care, life care, that was said, sorry, you got to leave. You don't have insurance. Leave.
Right. That's illegal to do, actually.
Okay.
That's covered by a law called EMTALA. And I forget what EMTALA stands for, but they have to have a triage and an emergency screening exam if something is determined to be a true emergency. And that's even if they're within a certain number of feet of the hospital. Like if someone's walking by the hospital actually collapses in the parking lot,
Exactly.
that person is entitled to it as well, even if they didn't sign into the emergency room. But that's the EMTALA laws that if it's a true medical emergency, they have to have a medical screening exam and medical stabilization and transfer.
By the way, little tip for everybody out there. I also guarantee you there's a law in the state of Georgia and in our own city that if you walk into a firehouse, a fire station where the EMTs are, and say, I'm very sick, I need to go to the doctor, they will not. They will take you on that. They will begin. They will checking you and your vitals and stuff like that. They will say, well, let me see your insurance card on that.
Right.
And they may bill you. They sure will for an ambulance
For the
charge,
ambulance ride, I guess. Yeah.
but they're not going to tell you no. They're not going to say no. You got to get out of here. My hats are off to all our EMTs out there, our firemen, and our law enforcement officers that deal with it. So I guess what it is that we really, wow. I'm 56 years old, and in my lifetime, this is, of course, I have to admit, as a child, my father was in service, so you know, I can remember the old days of the service where, you know, we had absolutely no worries whatsoever about any type of medical care, dental care, vision care, anything. The military paid for it. The U.S. government paid for it 100%. And the prescriptions, everything. It was just, you know, as a matter of fact, if anything, when I was growing up, you know, if we went, my mother went up to the doctors, and we went to Martin Army or whatever, and we got checked by guys like you, and that. But you know, we are literally right now, and I guess it's been probably in the last 10 years. We are facing, you know, an issue here, and I don't know if it's, you know, have we just all of a sudden come to realize, hey, there are a jillion people that don't have health care insurance? Do we just all of a sudden realize that? Is it a guilt thing? Or we said, wow, you know, we're the most powerful country on the face of the earth, and for some reason, we have people that can't get health care on that. I don't know what it is, but you know, I'll tell you what, this sounds a little facetious, but if I was a betting man, or not a betting man, if I was buying stock with my last dime, and there was such a thing that's called, you know, where the healthcare industry is going stock, I wouldn't put a penny in it, because I think there's as much chance that it's crash as it will make any money.
It's hard to say. I mean, look, pharma is doing, in general, doing well. All your insurance companies have had record profits with all the political indecision over healthcare. So they've been bleeding the system. And again, they're not evil insurance companies, but they are for profit, like we've talked about before. They've had record profits, though, insurance companies, the big insurance companies over the past few years. They have huge overheads, tons of executives, right? You know, branches in every state. So yeah, it's not perfect the way it is. I think there is a way to do it better. The number of uninsured, I'm not sure how it's different. But what I can say is, what is not, it's disingenuous to compare us to Sweden. All right, Sweden is what, the size of Connecticut. So you can't say, oh, look at the healthcare in Sweden. Look how great it is. Look what everybody gets. And I mean, it's not a fair comparison whatsoever. Now, can we learn some things about the way Sweden, you know, handles their healthcare? Sure, but it's just not a realistic comparison in any way, shape, or form.
And okay, so you know, we paint, or I painted this picture, and one thing that as I've gotten older, I try not, you know, to do. Is if I paint a picture of all the problems, is you know, people out there say, well, Joe, you know, what can we do? You know, and realistically. And I have a few thoughts on that. And maybe Dr. Clark can have a few thoughts on that too. And you know, that is, number one, utilize your resources. And what I mean by that is, do you know what you are really eligible and not eligible for? And let me give you an example. You know, well, I'm not poor, so I can't get Medicaid, I'm not retired military. I'm not talking about that. Those are kind of obvious ones. Mm-hmm. Okay? But, you know, I mean, and let me tell you something. There's no such thing as, you know, there's nothing wrong. All something can happen to you, somebody can say no, or you're not. Are you a member of AARP? Do you have USAA insurance? Are you a member of a senior group? Are you a member of a church coalition? Are you a member of a particular denomination? Have you talked? Have you looked at something and said, hey, I'm being very serious. You know, I'm a member of the PGA, the Pro Golfers. Do we have any healthcare association for that? I'm a member. You know, I'll give you an example. I'll give you people going, what are you talking about? I'm a member of the NRA, the National Rifle Association. Okay, the National Rifle Association has connections and relationships with healthcare, auto, homeowners, credit cards, banks, all those kind of things like that.
Kind of like AARP.
Yeah, AARP. What, $15 a year to be a member of AARP? I think it is like that. On that Association of American Association of Retired People, on that, is calling them and saying, hey, you know what? Here's my situation. I need some insurance on that. Now, you know, let me give you an example. Now, this one was not I don't think this was too happy. I mean, it was certainly, but I did prove one thing, and this is important. I've had I had a cabbage, a triple bypass 5 years ago. I got a couple stents. I have a flutter heart issue right now. I've had diabetes and a lot of other problems like that. And normally, I remember I wanted to find out something, and I did find out something. I was told by a lot of people that, Joe, you would have an easier chance of finding, a Yeti Bigfoot than getting a dime more of life insurance. And I said, really, it's just a waste of your time. So what I did was I said, I'm gonna see if that's true. And a very good example of that is through AARP, which I'm going to run. I kept saying these things about, and I'm not talking about burial insurance. I'm talking about life insurance, and not through some, the life insurance agency of Greater Hatchetchubby, Oklahoma. I'm talking about, a reputable company.
Right.
And you know what? I found out. I applied, and I found out that I was approved. I was approved. All I was approved for was $1,000 premium, $1,000 for the first year, and in 5 years it'd be $5,000. Okay, for a nominal payment per month. Now that's not a lot, but my point is that I would say I was able. And you know what? That's the first one I looked for. I didn't look for any more. Okay, so. They'll say, yeah, you can get it if you pay $2,000 a month. Well, okay, I'm just saying you need to look into these things, and you need to shop.
Now, one of the there's an interesting thing out there too. Some of our listeners might know. I'll hear this on the family radio station. You'll hear an advertisement, or you'll hear about these groups like Christians helping other Christians, and it's like a group insurance policy where everybody kind of pitches in a certain amount. And then if you need it, you use it. If you don't use it, you don't do anything. And I forget the names of them. The concept sounds okay. I'd be very wary of them. And if we have any information about it, I'd like to hear about it. I do know one person that has done it, and he says he's done okay with it. He had some GI problems and had to have tests done. As far as I know, he didn't get raked over the coals on it. But some of them are probably better than others, and some of them could be flat-out scams.
Well,
I just don't know much about it. Have you heard anything about those things?
I have not, but I will tell you one that I have participated in, that I know is not a scam, that is a very, that anyone out there, and there's not an income level on that, and that will surprise you. And I'll tell you what that is I know everybody, just like all of us, when we watch TV, we see 443,000 commercials for every pharmaceutical drug made on the face of the earth.
Goodness, yeah.
But have you ever noticed at the end of it, they always say, if you got these drugs, you can contact AstraZeneca, and they're going to be helpful for you. Have you ever heard them say that?
Yeah, it's on those websites.
They're telling the truth. And let me tell you, it's not just AstraZeneca. They're Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson.
Yes.
You can go online, and if anybody wants to know that, hi, Connie, and they want to know, they can call 706-940-0541. We have the number posted on there. And or you can give us an email or text, and we'll get you the information. But it's very easy to do. Just go online and put help for pain with help for pain for prescription drugs, and they'll come up.
There's a lot of different sites. GoodRx.
Pat and I had one. And like, for instance, if you can't afford Eliquis, I'm just making this up. If you can't afford Eliquis, the company that makes Eliquis on that. I checked into this. They have, and it's usually a one-page form. Let me tell you how it works. Is you download it off of the computer, and then you fill it out. And now you do have to have a doctor. Okay,
you still need a prescription.
You need a prescription. And what you do is your doctor, Dr. Clark's my doctor. He writes me a prescription, whatever it is, for my Eliquis on that. And then I send in, with this packet, I don't have to send in my 1040. I don't have to put, it just asks me questions. Can I afford it? If I can't, no. And then you put it on there. I send it in with the application, there's no money with it. And the last time, we haven't done this here, we've had insurance. When we did not have insurance, we did this. And we had 4 or 5, I think, of our medications. And what they do is they send a 3-month supply to the doctor. They send it to his office. Her office, whatever your doctor is. And then Dr. Clark's office calls me and says, your Eliquis is here. And then I go to you, and you can
Yeah.
to me
I think is that the one that's GoodRx or
Yeah, GoodRx is one of
GoodRx
them,
on yeah.
and on that. But these are and you know let's you know I can tell you this is a tax write-off thing for them. They'll tell you that. They, you know, it's good PR for the community, but they get a tax write-off because it's assisting people that can't afford it. But what I like about it is you don't have to go for a board or prove income or anything like that. You just say I can't afford it. And to my knowledge, and I know, what would you say, Pat? Probably about half a dozen people that we know that have tried this, and every one of them have gotten medication. Now, to my knowledge, and this is when we were doing it. Now, this could have changed, and I don't know if it's the same with every drug, but when I was getting it, when we didn't have any insurance on that, or we had insurance that would pay for a certain drug on it, they basically, as long as the doc, you know, as long as I would get a new prescription on that for a period of time, they would continue to send it. I think it was up to I think at one time we had it for like over 2 years on that. So there, you know, that, and I'm telling you, and a lot of people, I love you out there, but you're just like me.
Well, it's a shame. It's kind of like you have to know the secret. You know, it's like you have to have the inside information just to get through all this.
And so, you know, you hear that at the end of all these commercials. They go, because they do it. And they go, you know, if you don't afford the medication, they do say it real fast. They do something like that. You're like, yeah, whatever. You got to make $10,000 for 5 years.
I'll never apply to me.
No, it does apply. It just means if you cannot afford your medication or you're having trouble on it, in context. So what my point is, what's the worst thing that can happen? They can say, I'm sorry, you don't qualify. We don't get it. I basically, from my experience, which is about half a dozen people, about 6 people that I've helped get turned on to this. All of them, I mean, there were people that were middle-income people on that, making $50,000, $60,000 a year, and they all got it, every one of them. And so give it a try. That's one thing too. We don't have a lot of time left here. I think I don't know if this is a new thing. It may be a new thing. It may not be a thing. Could you explain what it is? I know I don't know. I can't give you names here, but I know there are some doctors now that have policies. I think they call it a concierge doctor.
Concierge medicine.
You pay a certain fee to that doctor.
Yes.
And what? Explain it to us.
So there's companies, and it's franchise based. Although any doctor can do this if they want. Called concierge medicine, and so it kind of is what it sounds like when you walk into the hotel and the concierge, personally takes care of you. It's where your doctor, you have much more personal contact with your doctor, and it's usually physicians. Instead of having 3,000 patients that they care for, they narrow it down to like 300 patients. And in order to make that practice work, though, and to give the patients what they need, there's an additional fee, somewhere like $1,000, $2,000 per year that you pay that entitles you to a certain amount of things. Like at least you'll see your doctor once a month for a full hour visit. You'll have a complete physical, every year at a certain time that encompasses everything. You can call your doctor, at any time. There's like whenever you need to see your doctor, you can see your doctor. Or your doctor will come out to your house. Now, there's some limitations to it, but it's basically, it's a shame that's what it comes to, but to be guaranteed to see your doctor when you need him, and you can afford it, you pay for the concierge. Your regular insurance, all the rates still apply. The deductibles, the co-pays, everything still applies. You just pay this extra fee to have your doctor. There's only 2 doctors in Columbus right now that I know of that provide this service.
Now, I have a question. All right. Is there such a thing? Because I don't even know if this is legal. Hello, Amber. Oh, my daughter, Amber, mother of the wonderful my grandson Lincoln Ray Cohen. On that, Amber Ray Cohen, wife of my son, Lee Ray Cohen. Welcome. Let me ask you a question. Okay, are there anywhere in the United States? Is there? I know there has been in the past. Is there any doctors in America today, and this is legal, where can I'll let me give you a tangible example, okay? I don't mind telling this people. We pay $1,062 a month for our insurance rates. $1,060, and that's not including our co-pays on our Well, let me ask you a question. I understand on that, but as far as seeing a doctor, a family practice doctor, on that. Are there doctors in America where I could just go up and someone say, hey, how about I give you $500 a month every month on a contract on that, and then I get 2 visits a month or 1 visit a month for that, and then anything besides that has to be done outside. I got to pay for that. But to see you on that, are there doctors that do that?
You can develop any kind of relationship you want with your patients. You can charge, whatever you want within reason. I've heard of doctors charging by the minute. You can come and see me. It's like $1 a minute, however long your visit takes. You're here 10 minutes, you pay $10 on your way out. So I've heard of things like that. A doctor can make up any relationship he wants. We tend to just all follow the rules of the insurance company and do everything the traditional way. But there are other non-traditional models that you can follow.
Because I almost wonder, if you could get the help with the prescriptions from the company on that, would it be economically for some people economically smarter to instead of the insurance, I know
Not carry a full insurance policy.
Maybe have because
catastrophic.
I was going to say, see that's the last one I was going to bring up. Something that people don't realize, and I looked into this, Doc, is Aflac is one of them. On that, there are companies that carry a limited insurance policy for catastrophic illness, cancer, or you have multiple myeloma or something like that.
A major car wreck.
And then it covers that. Now, if you get the flu, or you go on because you've got you're anemic or something like that, or you've got a bad infection that's but it's not life or anything like that, they don't cover it. But those kind of things they cover, and it's a lot cheaper. And on that, and then so. I don't know that maybe that's what in America we should start doing is looking at something saying maybe I should carry catastrophic illness insurance, cancer policy there, and believe me, if you never had cancer and you're young right now, you can get that very inexpensively on that, especially if you're and you can stay for your whole life on that. So let me tell you something. A lot of people die of cancer every year, don't they? A lot of people get cancer every year. True.
Third or fourth leading cause of death.
For those 25 to 35-year-olds out there right now, if you can pay a $40 or $30 a month premium, for 100% protection for cancer for you and on that, perhaps that'd be money well spent, on that. But again, of looking at that and saying, how am I spending my money? Because it's like I think sometimes that we have been put in a position where, so much of our country today, and this is a faith thing, so much today, so many of us, we live our lives in what? In fear. I'm not gonna drive fast because I'm afraid of getting a ticket. I gotta get to the insurance company because I'm afraid I'll be in the hospital and I'll need insurance and I won't have it on that. I'm afraid that if I, I say the wrong thing or look the wrong way, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm afraid. Is sit down and, maybe, I don't know, maybe go talk to if you have a family practice, go talk to your family practice doctor about that. Or if you're not, go make an appointment with one or something like that. Or call and check into catastrophic illness policies with all these we're talking about, Aflac, and with USAA and with NRA and AARP and all these things like that, and look at it and see. I know there's if you're a veteran, there's a lot of policies that are open to veterans, and see what's available and see what you're paying, and realize that there are options available. There are options available, and one of the things is so many of us today, we've got this computer in front of us. We call it a phone. It's not a phone. It's a computer that has attributes of a phone. We used to have phones that have attributes of a computer. Now we have handheld computers that have attributes of a phone. You know what? And I'm going to give you a piece of gold, everybody out there. Okay? Is people say, well, I don't know how to reach that. We literally, I'm going to give you the gold right now. In the search engine where you put in the question, literally ask questions. Put, I can't afford health insurance. Is there any options available? Search. Are there insurance policies just for catastrophic illnesses? Search. Is there help if I can't afford to pay for prescriptions? Search. And it will bring up answers to that. You don't have. I say some people are like, well, I don't know how to research a computer. Where do you go? Ask the question. Just what you're asking right now. What you're looking at. So, I've got hereditary heart disease in my family. And I'm okay right now. Is there a policy available for heart disease only? Ask the computer that, and the computer will tell.
Yeah, you can find a lot of information, but right. I mean, it's difficult. Personally, I wouldn't know what to do. I have regular traditional insurance. I've thought about this before. What if I just dropped the big policy where you're paying these huge premiums and just whittled it down to a couple things on Aflac and they're willing to pay cash for other things. And I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know the right answer. That's not my area of expertise. And I would have to do some research on it too. I'm sure there's some people out there that know and know how to take advantage of it. And perhaps we can provide that information at a later time.
I don't know. I mean, if you're paying $1,100 a month, and you've got so that's what almost $14,000 a year. Is it smarter to go out and borrow $10,000 and pay a monthly payment on at 5% or something like that, and then go to a doctor and say, hey, I'll give you $10,000 right here to be my wife and I's doctor for the next year, on that. And who knows? I don't know. And today was a little bit different. I'm just hoping out there to get people to realize. I think people feel trapped, and I think they feel unempowered. That I either got to make $1 billion, or I got to be in some government funded program, or I just have no choice. You do have choices. You do have choices, and they are available. And but it's like anything else. You got to put some elbow work, some grease work in it. You got to go out there. You got to work for it.
Yeah, and only take advice from people you can trust.
Absolutely, and recognize too. And this is not a bad thing. And I'm sure Doc will agree with this. Just remember, this is not a bad thing. What I'm saying. We're talking about business. This is business. This is not there are elements, of course, that medicine go into, philosophical, but what we're talking about today is business. And you know what? Remember what
it's all economic.
Remember what Don Corleone said.
Remember what
Don Corleone said. He said, I'm going to give them an offer they can't refuse.
Make them an offer
they can't refuse, on that. And
or go sleep with the fishes.
Thank you on that. But I mean, utilize your resources. There's always somebody out there. You just have to be able to know the good from the bad, and that's difficult sometimes. Often it's bad. But believe me, there are people out there. There are plenty of legitimate organizations that want your money on that, and they'll try every way they know how. Because I gotta tell you something. If you go to a good insurance agent and you tell them, look, I've got heart disease and diabetes, but I want some life insurance. They're the really good ones that really want, they'll try.
We'll find something.
We'll find something. It may cost a lot. It may be a limited benefits. You got to pay for it for 10 years before it's good. But we'll find something. But you've got to be willing to do that, because if you sit on your where the sun doesn't shine on that, nothing's going to happen.
Nothing, right?
Well, we're going to close out today. I
All right.
A little bit different.
Sure was, yeah. And we should follow up on some of this information that we can bring forward, because I do think a lot of people listening have these types of questions. If we can be helpful, we will.
Well, and I'll tell you what, one thing you can do on that, let me give everybody the ministry address, the ministry website address, our email.
And then they can email.
Yes, it's CPVM. That's C like Charlie, P like Paul, V like Victor, M like Michael. CPVM, of course, it's Chapman Paul Voorhees Ministry. CPVM at yahoo.com. CPVM at yahoo.com. You don't have to give me your name. If you want to reach us at that email, cpvm at yahoo.com. We will hook you up with anything we can help you with to try to steer you on this. And if we can't find it, we'll get with the doc, and the doc will get all together and we'll work this out and see if we can do it. But you know what? There's always a solution. It's just, it's just, what I always say, my dad told me when I was a kid, he said, son, I love it. He taught me to love analogies. And I love this. He said, the quickest way to get to Atlanta is I-85. I-185 to I-85. That's the quickest way to get Atlanta here. But you know what? There are about 10 other roads you can take. They're longer, they're bumpy, they're not as nice, but in the end, all 11 of them end up to the same place.
You reach your
You
destination.
reach your destination. So you know what? You may have to go down one of those bumpy roads. You may have to take a longer route on that, but there's always a solution. Never give up. Never lose faith. And also, keep in prayer. Remember to pray because God will hear you. Just remember that what Sister Helen Marie told me once in the 5th grade. She said, "I said, Sister, does God answer all prayers?" And she said, she was Irish. She said, she does. And I said, she. And she said, he does. I used to love her saying that. He does. She said, but you just, John Joseph, you have to realize something. I said, what is that? She said, sometimes the answer might be no. But God answered her. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you, Dr. Clark. We'll see you again next week.
Great to be here, man.
On the
Thanks.
Joe's Garden Country Show. And will you be here next week? That's the day before Thanksgiving. Are you going to be out in town?
I'll be here.
Okay,
You're here.
we're going to be here. We're going to be here. Miss Pat, if you will take us out. And thank you, Scout Dog, for being here.
Thank you.
Take care. God bless everybody. All right, close this down.
I had to take my contact lens out. It was so darn dry. It was driving me crazy. I'm sitting here, and I'm like, I finally just popped it out.